Marvel Studios has never been perfect, let's make that very clear, especially when it comes to behind the scenes power struggles, egos, and all that. So this shouldn't surprise anybody because we've heard in the past that there were some issues with the people working on the Avengers and specifically related to Joss Whedon. Well, now we got the writer of the Avengers who, well, let's just say he's not a fan of Joss Whedon. So this comes at us from Zach Penn. Now, Zach Penn, some of you might be familiar with this name. You kind of got to go into like the recesses of your brain and recall some old school Marvel news. So Zach Penn has ties to Marvel all the way back to X-Men 2, where he was there with Kevin Feige, kind of bouncing back ideas back and forth. And then once the X-Men franchise started to go down, he was brought on board into the MCU. And he worked on The Incredible Hulk, and then he was brought on to work on the Avengers. He ended up writing the first draft that the film would officially get greenlit for, and of course, then, through changes, Marvel Studios found a director, and they found Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon would then go on and say that he joined the project and that there was a script, but it was a script that he was never going to use and a film that he wasn't going to make. So he went in there and rewrote parts of the script. He says he heard, okay, Joss is coming on board, so clearly we're going to do what the other writers have done. They sit down with the directors, but no, Joss Whedon completely ghosted him, ignored him, took his script, started rewriting elements, rewrote it, gets majority of the credit for it, which he says isn't justified because, again, it's his script that it's based off of and he's still credited for it, but Joss gets the credit. He then goes on and uses some, well, words I can't utter here to explain what he thinks of Joss, and it's what a lot of people have said recently ever since all those allegations and proof and various things have come out in regards to Joss, so not a whole lot to really go over here, but yeah, he's not a fan of him, and he's not the first, certainly he's not gonna be the last, but this is something we found out about Joss multiple times, where he comes on and he does the bare minimum rewrites to get himself the main credit since he's the last one to work on it, and then that ends up kind of going over the actual people that set up the entire, premise and idea. So it is, at this point, something that I think most people understand and why most people don't give Joss the whole credit anymore.